Greetings everyone, I'm Dimitri and I welcome you to today's episode of Fryderykraft. Today we are standing on the Fleming Gate, which is the gate on the western end of Fleming Street. In the bygone days, when the city was encompassed by fortifications, this would have been the southwestern portal into which you would enter the city of Edwardsford. Also in the last episode, we have built this building, the magnificent skyscraper with the dome at the top. Today will be a shorter episode, but an important one nonetheless. So I will take you on a tour where we have just passed through the Fleming Gate into the borough of Edwardsford, where turning left into this narrow alleyway right here, we enter the Grind, which is one of the last remnants of the original medieval city in Edwardsford, where we have Tudor and Gothic houses lining the narrow alleyway, where at the end we end up at Wren Street in the neighborhood of Transwrensia. Transwrensia literally meaning across the Wren's Bridge, which is this bridge right here. On the other side is Edwardsford, and on this side is Transwrensia, is one of the more affluent neighborhoods of Ericton historically, where Georgian mansions line garden squares, such as over here, where we have the Jellie Gardens, where we have some nice mansions surrounding it, where our Atlas House is, where the Atlas Association has its headquarters. There's a dining room over here, as well as some maps. We have a map of the entire server over here. Atlas Association calls this building home. Nice big space for them to work. We also have maps of the city over here, though. This room isn't furnished too well, just out in the open. But this area of the town is where I would like to focus our interest today. Next door to the Atlas House is the Archaeology House, where the Ericton Archaeological Association is housed. They have been featured previously in some of my earlier episodes, and they have been around for a while, and their building has been standing for almost 3 years, yet it has been empty. The one thing I would like to do is do a favor for the Archaeological Association, finally finish up their headquarters. The Archaeology House will feature meeting rooms and hallways, and places to store artifacts as well as to display them. And I must get to working, as inside is quite spacious. So we will just close this door and open it right back up again, and we may begin our tour of the Archaeology House. Walking in, we are greeted with this foyer with some study areas off to the side. So you can see here we have Edmund, who is one of the senior antiquaries here at the Ericton Archaeological Association. Currently, he is now doing his studies, but continuing on, have this area where people can meet and sit and discuss stuff about history and archaeology and other things related to that subject. Here we have this eating area or larger meeting area, depending on what you plan on using it for. And we also have some artifacts taken away from their sites, boxed up and British Museumed all the way to Ericton. We have some artifacts, this pot right here on display. Going upstairs, we go to the main floor, where here we just have this display room with some pots. And in this room over here, we have the main dining and eating room, where we have some more stone columns taken away from their original sites and placed here in a private collection far away from public eyes. But this is where most of the meetings will be taking place and discussions and all of that sort. We also have another piece of carved stone on display. Going up the stairs once more, we arrive in this yellow area where we also have some more pots on display. This organization really seems to like its pots more than anything else, but we also have the archaeologist's library over here where anyone can catch up on their studies, reading about tales of old or studying maps. Speaking of maps, that's where this room is. We have another meeting area with a map right here to discuss the next expedition. We also have this small idol we found in the desert. Going up one more floor, we just have the attic with nothing inside of it, so we will go back down. Here we have Edmund scurrying about. Get back to work. And going one floor down, we have Edmund's sleeping quarters. Very humble. We also have some storage over here, as well as this empty room, which will probably just serve as a kitchen. Overall, I am quite happy with the archaeology house right here, and you will be seeing it in future episodes. But now, I'll do one final thing before ending the video. So what I would like to do is to go update our maps. One door over from the archaeology house is the Atlas house over here, where the Atlas Association occupies it, and it is in charge of all the maps within the server, and more specifically the city, where up in that room over there we have some maps of the city to mark down the progress. And the last time we have updated them, it was around spring. I believe it was early to mid-March, but the city has changed since then. We have built 2 more tall buildings since then, and the maps currently do not represent what the city looks like, so I would like to go in and update them. I did have to villager-proof the building a little bit, as Percival here seems to have not gotten the message and is not claiming any block stations for some reason or another, despite being linked to a bed. So we will be going up here, where this is my screenshot pillar. Apologies for that. It is a very cluttered room, but here we have our 2 maps. This one is a little bit more zoomed in, and this one get better view of the surrounding areas. But first, I shall go take these maps, copy them, lock them, and finally update them. And now we can place them back, and then do the same for the larger map. And there we have the maps updated currently to date. Though there wasn't much of a difference, there were some changes, such as these 2 buildings right here, the area along this strait right here got a little bit more land and filled, and there were a couple blocks of glessing that were expanded, but other than that, it was a pretty small update compared to the previous one where the entire wharf and the port of Pensworth was added, but other than that, was still some good progress in the city, especially since these 2 are pretty large buildings. And just for fun, I will go ahead and showcase Operation Exploration, or the large map of the world that we have. In the center we have Ericton, and north of that we have the city of Zickenven, we have the giant spaceship, and lots of other places that I've not shown on camera, but this is a very large map, and took a very long time to make, but it is here, and is a cool thing to have nonetheless. And perhaps in the future, we may be using it to go on an expedition. Unfortunately, though, it is time for me to end this episode, but we have gotten some great progress done, most notably the Archaeology House, which is now mostly complete and now houses the Ericton Antiquary Society. Very nice, and we also have some assistants in both the Atlas House and the Archaeology House now, which is very nice, and the villagers can add a little bit of more life to the city. Though a small task, we have also gone ahead and updated our maps, so we have a better snapshot of what our city currently looks like. But overall, this was a small episode just to add a small bit of more life to the city, and I thank you for your viewership if you have made it this far. Be sure to subscribe if you would like to see more, or leave a comment if you would like to let me know of anything. But I hope to see you in the next episode, and may I always remain amongst your most faithful and obedient of servants.